There is something about gaming in the 90s that felt different, not because the graphics were better or the technology was stronger, but because of how it made us feel. And for me, that feeling starts with the Super Nintendo and the Sega Mega Drive, sitting in the living room. They were always there waiting to be turned on, waiting for that familiar sound, and waiting to give that sense of comfort that came with it every single time. Back then, gaming felt simple in the best possible way, because you did not log in, you did not update, and you did not check what you missed. You turned the console on, pressed start, and you played without anything standing in the way of that experience. The game worked exactly as it was meant to, and that made everything feel smooth and natural. When you bought a game in the 90s, it was finished, and what you bought was the full experience. There were no patches, no missing content, and no fixes coming later. Developers had one chance to get it right, and that mattered because the game had to stand on its own. I remember owning only a few games and renting others from our local store. Because you did not have endless choice, every game mattered. You spent time with each game, you learned it, and you appreciated it. Renting a game felt exciting because you knew you only had a short time with it. Some games were brutally hard, and Super Ghouls and Ghosts is one that always comes to mind. It tested patience, punished mistakes, and forced you to improve. Even when it frustrated you, you kept coming back to it. Beating a game like that meant something real. You could not save whenever you wanted, and you had limited lives. When you failed, you took turns, passed the controller, and tried again. Progress was slow, but it was earned. That made success feel powerful and satisfying. Gaming was social, even without the internet. Sometimes I played alone, and other times I played with friends and siblings. All of us were in the same room, sharing the same screen. We reacted to the same moments together. That created a connection that online gaming rarely captures. Multiplayer meant sitting next to someone on the couch. You laughed, argued, competed, and celebrated together. Even when only one person was playing, everyone else watched. Watching was part of the fun. You talked about games at school with friends. You shared tips and spread rumors. Some of those stories were not even true. The mystery still mattered because it made games feel bigger. Discovering something felt personal because there were no guides showing everything. The technology had limits, but those limits created creativity. Graphics were simple, so atmosphere mattered more. Music mattered more, and imagination filled in the gaps. Those games stayed with you because they made you feel something. The sound of games still sticks with me to this day. The start of Super Mario World instantly brings comfort and familiarity. Those sounds are tied to memories, places, and moments in time. Games did not constantly demand attention back then. There were no notifications pulling you back in. There were no daily rewards forcing you to return. There was no pressure to keep up. You played when you wanted, and you stopped when you wanted. Gaming felt like an escape and not an obligation. Modern gaming can still be enjoyable today, but it often feels rushed, busy, and overwhelming. There is always something pulling your attention away. There is always something telling you to log back in. Back then, when you played a game, you were fully present. There were no phones and no multitasking. It was just you and the game. That focus made the experience stronger and more meaningful. Getting a new game felt special every single time. You went to the shop and looked at the box art. You read the back again and again. You waited to get home so you could finally play it. That anticipation was part of the magic. When you finished a game, that was it. There was no endless grind waiting after the ending. There were no constant updates changing the experience. You completed the game and you remembered it. Those experiences stayed with you long after the console was turned off. This is not about saying everything was better in the past. Modern games do incredible things, but something important was lost along the way. Games used to be about fun, challenge, and imagination. Maybe gaming felt better in the 90s because life felt different too. There were fewer distractions and more patience. There was more time to get lost in something. So when people say gaming felt better back then, this is what they really mean. Games did not rush us. They did not sell to us. They did not overwhelm us. They gave us comfort, challenge, and connection. They just let us play, and sometimes that is exactly what we miss. Thanks for watching.